Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Warren,
And this is Jay.
and we the Eagles Collective. And the biggest question we got this week is, are the Eagles done this season? So we'll get started with it, and we entering into Week 15 against the Seahawks. And with that being said, we got to move the old game past us, and we'll just give our last and final thoughts on the last game against the Cowboys. Jay, I'll let you start it off.
Yeah, so this loss obviously is back-to-back loss versus two NFC, potential playoff opponents. This loss, stings a little bit worse because it's a division opponent and it's the Cowboys, but the way they lost this game was not the way they got completely dominated by San Francisco. This game can be a test to a couple different factors of why they lost the game. And even though the Jalen Carter scoop and score made it seem like they were going to come back in, and I thought they were going to get something going, they just could never get going the whole night.
Yeah, I agree with you. And for my thoughts on that game, we kind of talked about it earlier on Monday. The first half, the offense got the ball rolling. We were making plays, but then at the same time, the defense wasn't getting the ball rolling. Come second half, the defense was doing their job. They only held the Cowboys to 3 field goals, no touchdowns that second half. And it was time for our offense to step up and make plays. And our offense was not stepping up and making plays. If we could have gotten both, I'm pretty sure everybody wishes the players that we could get those plays back and those drops back, we would get them, and the score would be totally different. The conversations would be different. But yeah, we'll move on from that, and we'll get started on a few news and injuries. So as far as the news, they're saying that the tush push is not scheduled to be banned. Apparently, it was only a rumor by Roger Goodell that he was planning on banning the tush push, but a lot of the owners and a lot of the people in the NFL think that it is a good play, and at the end of the day, you just need to know how to stop it. So,
like Troy Vincent
that's
said, you shouldn't be punished for doing something good.
yeah, and that's real talk. Like at the end of the day, like we came up with a play, we came up with a system to where teams got to stop it. They can't, and that's more of a challenge for them, especially the good coaches that like to come up on a challenge and like to accept that challenge and try to find a way to stop it. We'll give a shout out to Dwayne. Dwayne, we appreciate you watching us.
Shout out to
Also,
Dwayne.
Dennis. Yeah, our guy Dennis. Dennis, what's going on? Always good talking to you.
Oh man, Dennis is in the building.
And also Vincent. Vincent, we appreciate you. Dennis,
Vincent too.
yeah, Vincent. I've been watching. I watched the 22 on the Eagles Cowboys game, and that opened my eyes to a lot of things. So I appreciate that information you gave us on that, Vincent.
Definitely, Vincent. And also, don't tell Vincent top billing, man. That's not a new favorite channel. Thank you, Vincent, for telling me about that guy. So it's funny because that guy does Seattle Seahawks coverage, and he's an Eagles fan. So he's kind of torn this week. So, but his channel's amazing. Top billing. Check him out. Vincent recommended him.
Yeah, definitely. So with that being said, we're gonna go over, like I was saying, just the news about the tush push. At the end of the day, we won't really truly know till May comes around on what they really want to do with it. I don't think that they're gonna ban it. And the only reason why we're effective with it is because it's a Jalen Hurts and Kelsey play. That's we have those two players that can dominate in it. They also brought in a coach in the rugby league that also coached them on it. So they went out of their way and went the extra mile to try to figure out what they need to do to perfect it. So I think when you put those things into consideration, hey, maybe other teams need to do the same thing. But yeah, as far as that, we're gonna go move forward to the injuries. And Darius Slay is questionable this upcoming game. Reed Blankenship is also questionable. Zach Cunningham is questionable, and Cam Jurgens is questionable. Yeah, those are some solid quality players that we need for this next win. What do you think about that, Jay?
Well, the injury report, Slay being on the injury report, I know that he was added on last week. I just think it's more of an age thing, end of the season type of thing with him. Jurgens being out obviously is going to affect us on the offensive line. I think it's a pectoral injury for him. I'm not sure. I got to recheck that. But I want to get back to the Blankenship injury. Now, the defense looked different in the second half versus the Cowboys. They only gave up 9 points, no touchdowns allowed. They got several stops. They just looked like a different team. I was hoping that team would have showed up in the first half. I haven't seen the all 22 for that game yet, so I can't really attest. But I know there's a couple plays that I marked down that I seen Sidney Brown flash on that I want to go back and see. Just plays him coming in and plugging up a hole or plugging up a gap that I want to rewatch and just see over to see if the difference was him on the second half. The second half adjustment by the Eagles was amazing. Only 9 points, no touchdowns, but the offense couldn't keep him in it. So that injury to me is one to keep an eye on because I don't know if with Blankenship being out, he's our leading tackler. There's nothing against Blankenship, but maybe they could find a different package or just try to figure this out.
Yeah, no, I got you. And with Reed Blankenship being out, I think it's really good to get Sidney Brown out there too. Sidney Brown, he made a lot of plays last game. I think with him it's just more experience. He just needs to get on the field more. Just start putting himself out there. And I think he's going to eventually kind of form into himself. Right now he's still a rookie. They talk about that rookie wall. He's learning from his mistakes. I just think right now the athleticism is there, but as far as the experience is not there. So
Yeah, I think his
that's where the
instincts have
mistakes
to.
are
He
being made.
bites a little too much on certain plays. Like he might overbite on a play. I think he's gonna get better. Like you said, more reps. It's just that he's coming in the fire right now, at the end of the season, and when we're trying to make this run for this number one seed. So it's gonna, it's an uphill battle. But I like what I saw from him. That one play where he almost tipped the ball up the middle when Ferguson caught that kind of, I think it was a slant or in, and he was running.
Mm-hmm.
He almost tipped that ball. Had he tipped that ball, it would have been a different ball game because the Eagles would have got the ball back still halfway through the third quarter, and it would have been a different ball game. But he made a good break up on a CD Lamb up to the left sideline. He got his hand at the last second. So he made his plays. He had his flashes. He made a good run stop. I think on Pollard it was. Where
Mm-hmm.
Dowell came in and he plugged the gap immediately all the way from the back end of the field. So I like what I'm seeing from Sidney Brown, and I definitely want to see what else he got in store.
Yeah, and I totally agree with you on that. We just saw a lot of struggles from our veteran cornerbacks last game, and I think that has everybody on the fence of what we need to see to be more confident in what we have. At the end of the day, Darius Slay and James Bradbury were those cornerbacks that we had in the Super Bowl. But we also have to be honest, James Bradbury was the one that was holding, and
Yeah.
also like we made that decision. So I just think right now they need to. I don't really like the fact that they're throwing in players and they're mixing them up in the middle of the games, but I also understand why they're doing it. And the only reason why I say I don't like it is because you kind of want your players' communication to be on point. So I feel like when you throwing players in, throwing them out, mixing them up, that can kind of confuse a little bit. That can kind of throw off and miscommunication, just all that. And I just think that can be an issue too as well. But I personally have been watching, thanks to Vincent, watching the 22 on Kelly Ringo and Keely Ringo, my bad. And he has the athleticism. He has it. The only thing is he just doesn't have the, like we kind of talked about with Sidney Brown, he just doesn't have the experience.
Mm-hmm.
So I was watching. Ringo was keeping up with Cooks. At the end of the day, he was keeping up with him. He was toe to toe with him on the ball, and he actually, if watching the 22, uh, Cooks was actually trying to get him out of space, and Ringo kept up with him. Ringo has a 4.3 speed, so he was keeping up with him the entire time. But it was that space part that I feel like that's what was burning Darius Slay. That's what was burning Bradbury. So I think mixing them up a little bit in the Seahawks game will be very beneficial to them. That's kind of where I'm at as far as our defense. We all know as well our offense. I mean, our defensive line, they struggled a little bit, and of course Jalen Carter got that touchdown.
That
But
was
what do you
amazing.
feel?
I love
Yeah,
how he's
what do you
looking.
feel about
Yeah.
our? our defensive line right now, Jay?
I feel like they're not getting pressure, and the numbers show they're not hitting home. They're not, this was a team last year that's almost set the sack record, and they're not even close to that this year. The back end, they should work hand in hand. You should give enough pressure to mask the issues in on the back end. And this year's been the opposite. We're not getting enough pressure, so it's exposing all the issues we have on the back end and in the secondary. And not to jump from topic to topic, but Ringo's makeup speed is a beneficial to him because he doesn't have the full technique as the top corner yet. But his makeup speed allows him, if he baits on something and he's late, he can get back. That's the speed that Bradbury and Slay are not even close to. I'm not that hard on Slay. When you look at the numbers, PFF has him graded pretty decently for his age and considering everything the Eagles been through. But Bradbury has been getting torched as of late, and he got torched last game, and something's got to give. The glaring weakness in this Eagles secondary. I mean, the Eagles is the secondary and the linebackers. It's very, very obvious. They haven't been able to stop a snail the last 2 weeks, and it's getting extremely frustrating.
Yeah, our linebacker core is not it's not up to par.
See what Dwayne just said. Even when they blitz, it's like slow motion. It's like, they're not hitting home, and I don't understand what it is. Like, they're just not. And you got hitters, you're rotating guys, and you're just not hitting home. You're not hitting home.
Could it be fatigue? You think they're a little fatigued?
Fatigue. That's what I'm gonna blame this whole funk on. The 2 games, everything that when you really think about it, people count the gauntlet as 5 games. I counted as 6, counting the Cowboys game before the bye. And the reason why I say that is, you got the Chiefs, you got the Bills, you got the Cowboys twice, right? Who else did they play? The 49ers, right? One. Mm-hmm. So that's 5, right? There's one game I'm missing. Who am I missing? Either way.
We got the Bills. We had the Cowboys, Bills, Chiefs,
Cowboys,
49ers.
Twice. There was another. No, Miami. No, Miami. Yeah. We played. No, that Miami was before. But no, Miami. I don't consider that. But whatever. Consider the last 5 games.
Yeah.
Is it consider the last 5 games? Any team goes through that stretch, they're not going to end up with a 500 record. Only a few teams would have been able to handle this type of schedule. So the fact that they're still at this position with this, I'm going to blame it on the fatigue. If they do drop this game or play extremely poorly or just get by how they were getting by in the beginning of the year, I'm going to definitely be concerned. But, the holes have been here. This is not new to us. Eagles fans, we've been winning games, by, I don't want to call it luck, but, it was just our time. There was key moments that led up, key sacks. We got key plays and key spots. But if they can't continue to win like this, they can't continue. If they need a dominant win, like I would love to see them come out and just dominate. They haven't dominated not even a single time this year. Even when they were beating Miami, the score wasn't indicative of how close the game could have been. I just want a decisive win. That's all I'm looking for. Dennis said his team can't even beat the Raiders. Dennis, if they lose on Monday, I'm going to be extremely, extremely concerned. And in Seattle's no slouch. Seattle's not an easy place to play in. But if they lose on Monday, I'm going to be extremely, extremely concerned.
Yeah, definitely. And I look at it like this. We talked about this at the beginning of the season. We went over what games can possibly be losses. My biggest one was the 49ers. Your biggest one was the Bills at the time.
Yeah, it was the Bills, yeah.
Yeah, and so we had that discussion. So we knew we were going to go through this rough stretch of games, and we weren't going to come out like without a loss. So we did what we did. I think the Seahawks game is going to really be a determining factor of where we're at right now.
Who they are, how do you respond?
Yeah, just not even respond, just where are we at as a team? Because think about it. Everybody's saying, yeah, y'all got these wins, y'all are 10-3, but it's a fraudulent 10-3. Okay. And we got those losses to the 49ers, we got those losses to the Cowboys. Even though, let's remember, we beat the Cowboys.
Yeah, we did. We beat them. We beat them that first game.
Yeah, we beat them. So it's at the end of the day, we know how to play up against them. They just got us at the wrong time. And I feel like the Seahawks game is going to determine where we stand. If we can beat the Seahawks in a double-digit game, like if we can beat them in that magnitude, I think we're fine. That's my personal opinion. If we go in struggling against the Seahawks and barely get by, kind of like with that Bills game, if it turns into that, that's when I have questions. If we have loss on that, If we get a loss to the Seahawks, that's definitely questions. But us as fans, the coaches know everything that everybody's saying. They hear it all. It's not like they're ignoring anything that we're saying. They have fans outside the NovaCare Stadium putting signs out, letting them know.
Yeah.
So like,
They know how
so
we
they're
all feel.
yeah, so they're gonna react to it, and they're gonna respond to that. So I'm not too worried about it. I think it's gonna be good that they have an extra day of rest. Um, with this Monday night game, actually too, because they're playing Monday night. So I think this extra rest is going to help them. But I can see them. I can see them coming in being a dominant team. And let's remember the Seahawks are ranked number 28th, I want to say, on the defensive run. No, on the defensive pass, they're ranked number 23. Defensive run, they're ranked number 23. So
They're
like
not good on
this,
defense.
yeah. So this is a team that we can pull off all of our stops on the offense on them. So they're a beatable team right now.
You know, these losses, if the Eagles end up let's say they end up winning the number one seed, and everything goes to the link. I really do truly believe those two losses to the 49ers and the Cowboys are going to benefit them. You know, the reason why I say that is because there was so much little tweaks that they could make. Example, yards after the catch versus the Niners. You know, the Niners had 200 yards after the catch. How do you fix that? Tackling. They are literally working on tackling drills. I saw the tweet that they put out. They're working on tackling and fumbling drills, you know, because they're sick of it. The poor tackling is a reason why the Eagles have gave up a lot of yards on defense, because get the guy down, swarm the guy. I don't see the Eagles defense swarming. You know, we've had defenses in the city that swarm. They're not swarming to the ball, and I'm just trying to figure it out, and that's a coaching issue to me. You should have everybody motivated. And earlier in the chat, Dennis said, this is the time of the year you find ways to win. And it's funny because that's what they were doing in the beginning of the year. Everybody's banged up. There's no excuses. But we can't throw in the towel on this team for several reasons. It's the NFL. Anything can happen. Look at the Raiders yesterday. They scored no points last week and exploded for 63 yesterday. You understand what I'm trying to say? Anything can happen. Literally anything can happen. If you told people that Eagles would have got blown out back-to-back weeks, nobody would have believed you. Nobody would have believed you. They would have said they're going to fight hard. But you know what? Sometimes you got to get punched in the mouth to respond correctly and learn how to fight.
Mm-hmm. And it's kind of funny because the Seahawks played the Cowboys, then 49. They played the 49ers, Cowboys, then 49ers. We coming back from playing the 49ers, then the Cowboys. So they played the same team that we did. So that's why I said it's going to be a good measuring stick. Yeah, it's going to be a good measuring stick to where we're at.
They haven't beat Seattle since 2008, and they've lost 7 straight. So it's like, when is that going to end? You know, when is that going to end? That got to end at some point.
So much has happened since 2008, bro. So much has happened since.
Dennis says he's going to wear his Blankenship jersey and see if they get mad. Yo, you know what's crazy, Dennis? How Blankenship is the freaking leader in the Pro Bowl at his position, which is fairly odd because not every Eagle fan is on Blankenship's boat, but it seems like the national media or the national, you know, he's getting a lot of national attention from the fans being, you know, I don't really think Blankenship is that bad, but after seeing Sidney Brown and seeing the defense on the second half, I definitely want to see Brown more out there. I want to see him more out there.
And Ringo was out there too. That's what I'm saying. These younger corners are kind of making just a better impact right now.
Blankenship got hurt on his neck, right? But and Dennis, again, I'm here to quote you again. Make sure you're listening. You know, the way he was leading with his head, he led that tackle with his head and his neck. It's just crazy. He didn't wrap up, so it's like he couldn't, you know, he induced the injury on himself, which is crazy.
Yeah. So I got a question for you, Jay, and Dennis. Answer this for me as well. Who do y'all think is the leader on the defense?
Yeah, hold on. I don't even want to cut you off. Dennis, Dennis, we're gonna have to make a bet that we'll be there the next time. I'm sorry, Dennis. But who's the leader on defense? You honestly asked me that. Remember last week I said, bro, there's no leader on here. Remember me and Vince were having a whole discussion, and then he said Derek Barnett, and it's true. Derek Barnett was that fiery guy. There's no. I don't see a leader. I'll be honest with you.
No, I'm talking about a leader. That was more of like a enforcer. when it came to
Yeah,
Derek
like
Barnett.
even a leader, I don't see any leader on this defense. I'll be honest with you. I don't see a Malcolm Jenkins type of player, a Brian Dawkins type of player. I don't see him on this defense. Like I'm trying to find out who he is, but I don't find it. So I don't even want to give an answer because truthfully, I don't think nobody is worthy of saying that. Now those are all vets, but they're not. Reddick is not vocal enough. Graham could be, and Fletch. Fletch is vocal, but Fletch keeps talking about last week's. We're gonna find out. We're gonna step up, but I'm not seeing nothing from them. I'm not seeing. I would say Reddick is the silent leader. He leads with his play. If there's one person who's vocal, it's Graham. But I don't see a true enforcer on the Eagles defense. That's just my honest opinion.
Do you think they were trying to make Nakobe Dean be that leader on the defense this year?
Possibly, but to have a guy like that, you gotta have somebody fiery. You gotta have somebody fiery, somebody who's everywhere, very vocal. You can't have a guy who's just not saying anything but also playing. That reminds me of Bradbury. Bradbury doesn't talk much. He doesn't talk. He
Yeah,
just be
but
playing.
remember on the offensive side, Jalen isn't that way either.
Yeah, Jalen doesn't talk much, but you got guys who do talk. You got guys. AJ speaks. Devontae speaks up his mind. You got guys who talk to the media all the time. Goddard is very well at explaining the offense when he's speaking to the media and the target sharing. But you're right. Jalen is not like Jalen's not fiery. Jalen leads more with his play. He's more like a silent leader, but he does break down the huddle and give his two. But maybe it's Bayard. Bayard is fed up with the side. Yeah, Bayard. I just feel like that's a coaching thing too, because he's not in the right position sometimes, and that's coming down to coaching, man. I got a lot of heat on Facebook last week because I said I didn't blame the last game on the coordinators. I blamed it on execution, and it's the truth. I don't blame the Cowboys' loss on the coaching because even though the coaching wasn't perfect, definitely not good. But they the drops, the fumbles, you can't. That's all execution. That's all on me is on execution.
Yeah, no, most definitely. I would like to see our defensive line just be a little bit more explosive than what they have been. I think that's been our biggest struggle. Um, Offensive line, they've all been complaining. Even Josh Sweat made the comment that usually he's where he should be at he's right on the quarterback at times where he should have, and he said everybody's not working together. So it's everybody's feeling it all over. And my biggest thing is too about bringing in these young players. We've been putting Sidney Brown out there. Why are we not putting Nolan Smith?
Yeah, Nolan Smith, man, when he was in the game, he was chasing down Dak and he was right on him. Dak had to get to that thing quick. Once again, that's a whole coaching thing. I would definitely want to see these young guys out more. It's just they want to put these guys in now in the midst of the fire. They're putting them in a lot of putting a lot of pressure on them. Same way they put a lot of pressure on Blankenship, giving him so much responsibility and expecting the most.
Yeah, and I think they need to put Nolan Smith out there a little bit more. Get him some reps. Like right now, if you really think about it, these are the best teams that we're going to be going up against to get some reps.
Yeah,
Like
get him some NFL reps and get him in.
Yeah. So we just need to get the defense some more reps and fine tune where we're at right now as a defense. I think they still don't have an identity right now. There's
They
no
don't.
identity.
That's why I said there's no true leader for me. Like they just don't have somebody who's a true actual leader.
Yeah. And I like this comment Dennis just put down. I'm totally for it. That's what I want.
Yeah.
Jeremiah Trotter Jr. That's what we need right now.
Of course, yes. No matter what, the Eagles got to go defense first round. And the Eagles have a philosophy. They don't like to pay running backs. They don't draft linebackers high. They don't draft running backs high. And it's just like, at some time you got to buck that trend. There's linebackers out there early second round. Go out and get a guy early in a draft that's going to be productive. Get a good defensive guy who's going to make stops. Somebody who's going to put fear in the defense. In the offense. You just need an enforcer.
And Jay, there's another thing that I was looking this up too when we were talking about looking up that other information about the extended days before the games and all that. But I found this information out. Did you know that when Gannon and Shane Steichen, when they both went on to their teams to be the head coach, that they brought in more than half of the original coaching staff from last year?
They did, yeah.
What they did was they just promoted a lot of these guys on the coaching staff for the Eagles.
Instead of letting them earn that.
Yeah, and so think about it like this. If you're Darius Slay and James Bradbury getting coached by a first-time cornerback coach. What are your thoughts on that?
Okay, so this is it. The Eagles, to me, dropped the ball in the offseason by going with rookie coordinators. I think they could have went with one rookie coordinator. Well, Desai's not really a rookie because he was in the Bears, but he's a very inexperienced. Let's put it like that. He's not too experienced. I think they dropped the ball. I think with teams and rosters like this, you don't go out and hire a guy who's just starting. You go and hire a known guy. These guys are getting coached by somebody who they may feel they may know more than them.
Yeah.
Brian Johnson, I love a good NFL story. I love a good sports story, but Brian Johnson is particularly there a lot due to his relationship with Jalen Hurts and his relationship with the organization. But I still think they should have brought somebody else in. This is the thing. Jalen every single year has a new OC. That's what people don't understand. If you go back every single year, Jalen has a new OC, new offense, new everything. Just learning so many new things at one time that, so many new things. So that's also every single year, him having to learn a new offense, learn a new coach. So I just hope the whole Brian Johnson buddy thing is not, really part of why he's there. But I could see them still firing him if things don't go right at the end of the year because Lurie's not afraid to fire a coach.
So I got another question for you on top of that. Speaking of Brian Johnson, because we'll go over to the offensive side.
Yeah.
Remember back in 2021, back when the Eagles were not running the ball that much, and it was Nick Sirianni calling the plays?
Yes.
Do you feel like Nick Sirianni has his hands a little bit more on the offensive coordinating side when it comes to calling plays?
I think he's influencing the play calling more than people probably imagine because, if you notice him on the sideline, he's everywhere. He's left and right. He's everywhere, just like every coach. But he's not really quiet. Some of these coaches are quiet. They let their quarter. He just seems to have a chime in on everything. The size, annoying cousin, I want to punch in the face. I hope you learn something. If you ask me who I like worse, the Sai or who I dislike worse, I would probably say Brian Johnson because he has a plethora of weapons, and it's just like we're only targeting 3 people in a game. It's ridiculous. Desai has good in-game adjustments, second half adjustments. If you look at the Eagles' second half, they've been adjusting better in the second half. That doesn't mean he's a good coordinator. That also just means that something else is going on at halftime, whether it's the players adjusting, the linebackers, somebody's adjusting something to make them play better in the second half of games. And it's just how they've been all season. They've been a better second half team. These slow starts are killing them, these slow starts. Also, as a defensive coordinator, if your offense is doing nothing, you're in a position now because you're trying to make your defense do more to compensate for lost opportunities on offense.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. With Brian Johnson, I think after watching the 22, there was a lot of good plays that were made, but there was a lot of plays that were predictable. There's a hand signal that Jalen makes to let them know that they're going off top. It's just a lot of plays were predictable, but I think with the talent that we have, we're relying so much on the talent that we have that those plays can still get played, that we can still be successful with those plays, not mattering if we scheme up our wide receivers or scheme up anything. Our talent will oversee that. But I think as we move over to the to the offense, I personally think that we're going to have a better game. Our biggest thing was running the ball. I think we'll see Jalen with the ball a little bit more this time. I would like for us to emphasize the tush push on everybody. That's what I would like to see more of. Hell, if it's 3rd and 3, tush push it. I want to see that, and the reason why I say that is because when we impose the tush push, bro, we impose our will on the other players. They know they can't stop it
because of the frustration.
Yeah, they know they can't stop it, and you got to think about it. The defensive line is going to get tired out. We're wearing them out when we're doing that. I think that would be a very smart move to make if we do that. I can see AJ Brown catching the ball. I can see Devontae Smith not losing the ball. I can see Jalen Hurts not losing the ball as well. I think there's going to be a lot of more smarter football. Yeah, they have the whole thing where we haven't won against the Seahawks since 2008, but so many things have changed since 2008 to where we can get that win. I can see if they're in the same division as us, but they're not.
Yeah, that's what concerns me, is because like they beat us with different quarterbacks, different coaches, different regimes. It's just when we play them, it just doesn't line up. I was at the 2020 playoff game when Carson got his head knocked by Jadeveon Clowney, and I'll tell you what, even from then the losing streak was going. That was in 2019. So the Seahawks just have had their number. I have a good friend who's a Seahawks fan who who always reminds me of that. But I just think that trend has to end, and this is the perfect game to reset, because the Seahawks are not a terrible opponent, but they're also not gonna, blow you out of the water. And let me not say anything, because after yesterday seeing that Raiders game, like, I really still can't believe that happened. 63 points or whatever. I just, if they don't wake up on Monday, there's big problems in Philadelphia. Big problems, because it doesn't even matter if you lose that game and you go 10-4. You're going to be one and done in the playoffs. You're going to definitely be one and done.
Yeah, I think that's when it's panic mode. That's if we lose to the Seahawks, that's panic mode.
It's funny that he said that, had Clowney not hit him, they would have won that game, because Carson was rolling. If you remember, Carson was hitting all sorts of receivers, no big names. He was just rolling. Someone getting fired if we lose on Monday. Dennis, listen, something's going to change. And I always attest to Buffalo. Look at Buffalo when they fired Ken Dorsey. All of a sudden, they just started blowing up. Because sometimes you got to get rid of baggage. You got to get rid of dirt. Nobody is really a fanatic of Brian Johnson. Nobody really is a fanatic of him. Nobody is a fanatic. Like, I haven't heard nobody. I put a lot of blame on him because the creativity is just so low. The least rate of motion in the NFL. You're not fooling anybody. You're not fooling a high school team with that type of offense.
Yeah, and it's crazy just with his accolades and his experience in the past. You would think that he would be scheming up some more plays, some better RPOs, some more passes to get Swift the ball, some more
like that.
Yeah, to get Zacchaeus or Watkins the ball. Like, you would think he would be cooking up something like that, but I feel like I know as an offensive coordinator, he's not in charge of everything, but I feel like he has a safe pile of plays that he's comfortable with, and he's scared to attempt those other plays that can get us over the hump. That's what I'm looking at with that. Yeah.
I think Dennis wants to be fine. He never wants to talk to you. Dennis. Yo, matter of fact, I think we need to do like a special episode. Like, Dennis.
That's what we need to do.
Yeah, we need to do a special episode, maybe like a crisis episode with this week. Let's get a crisis episode going, because we are going through a crisis right now.
Hey, Dennis, we definitely got to work something out. You a businessman, just like I'm a businessman. We get those crazy schedules, so
yeah, we got to work something out. Dennis supports us, and we're gonna try to support Dennis as much as we can.
Yeah, we got to work something out.
We love your energy, brother. Trust me.
Maybe we can do something before the Monday night game. We can get on.
Have a little special episode, just us talking. Nah, we know you messing. That's the thing. Dennis sent us a humor. But we really appreciate your support, all of y'all in the group. Speaking of that, we hit 400 members in the group on Facebook. It's a big accomplishment for us. I don't know. Me and Warren don't really tell much people of our story, but we were like thrust into this. One day we'll fully explain it. But like, we were on another show. They wanted to part ways with us. They felt like me and Warren weren't valuable enough. So we went our own way, and it's just like we created this off the limb 2 days before the season, and I'm glad we got to this point, and we really appreciate all your support, all of y'all. And, I wish I could thank everybody individually, but off the top of my head, Dennis, Vincent, Cool, all these people, everybody, we appreciate the support. We really do.
Yeah, and I'll kind of piggyback off that with before all this.
Dwayne too. Shout out to Dwayne. I ain't forget you, Dwayne.
Yeah. Before all this, me and Jay didn't really talk as much. We were more just like coworkers,
kind of in a way. Colleagues.
We were more colleagues.
We would talk. We didn't even know each other, bro.
Yeah. So when we got removed off the other platform, me and him had a phone call, and we said, "Hey, how do you want to take this? What do you want to go with this?" And we both agreed. We both had brilliant ideas. Like, ideas that we knew were not going to get exposed and not moved on onto the station that we were on, and we just collabed together, thought about it, worked together. Communication is key in whatever you're doing. If you got the
Absolutely.
same goal, the same dream, and you got that communication, you can take whatever you're trying to do as far as you want. So yeah. So Jay, I appreciate you.
Yeah, I
We
appreciate you too,
appreciate
my brother.
everybody in the group. 400 and hell, we only started back in September. Like,
I'm telling you,
we'll
days
be
before
real.
the season. We're literally started days before the season. We were talking for those 3 days, 2, 3 days. We were just like, what are we gonna name? What are we gonna do? We just got thrust into this, and we're having fun with it. This is fun for us. We enjoy. We consider this more like a fan cast because we're all fans. None of us are pros. So it's just fun for us. I love to talk birds. And Dennis says, "Can my hairline get so?" Oh my God, Dennis, you and your damn hairline. We might have an episode topic on your hairline.
We're gonna take him. You're gonna have to take him to the shop, bro. Just get it. Just get an Eagles logo. Just get the
Listen, we're gonna
Eagles
get you a
logo,
nice
bro,
little Eagles logo on the side.
and you ain't gotta worry about it. You see, yeah,
He said, "Screw that, they done." Listen, we always say the same thing because over there we were just like in the back of the room. Now we're in the front of the classroom. So we're grateful for this, and just bear with us. Every week we learn, and we're not perfect. Lighting, sometimes mics. We've learned how to just go through it.
yeah. And with help of like people like Cool, Dennis,
Yeah,
Vincent, getting you guys like you guys have helped us in a lot of ways in building what we're trying to do, and we want to make sure we reciprocate that back to y'all. So yeah, we appreciate everybody. We appreciate everybody in the group. We appreciate Judy. She's one of our admins
Marina
in the
too.
group. She's
Marina,
awesome.
Marina. I
Yeah,
appreciate
Marina,
Marina.
everybody. Dwayne, we appreciate you. Everybody. So it's only 400. I know we look at other groups, they in the thousands, but for us to move the way that we're moving, we couldn't go as far as we could without y'all.
Thank you,
Um,
bro. Appreciate it.
but yeah, as we move forward, we'll
Dennis said,
get to the
I'm sorry,
end.
Dennis said I haven't done
Yeah.
anything. Dennis, you commenting and engaging with us, that's all we need, brother. Support is free. I always tell everybody, just like, comment, share. It's free. We appreciate you. You helping more than you know.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, most definitely. Let's go ahead and talk about the score prediction, Jay.
Yeah.
Um, my this it's going to be in Seattle. I was looking at the predictions ESPN got. Now you can bet on ESPN now, so they got to be a little bit more on point about what their predictions are. But
Mhm.
I'm looking at. I would like to say Eagles will go 32-24.
Okay.
32-24 Eagles. They got the Eagles with a point. I want to say .2 point spread of us winning this game, and we have a 57.7% chance of winning. What do you got, Jay?
10-45. I think it's gonna be, I think we're gonna put up 28 points. We're gonna give up 17. I think 28-17. I can see them winning this game. There's pressure. There's a lot of pressure on Philly, and how do they respond is gonna tell where we're gonna end. This season, this game is basically very pivotal for where direction they're gonna go in.
Yeah. So but yeah, if you guys got anything, always if you guys ever want to come on, talk ball, talk Eagles, just talk about the team as a whole, like you always welcome. Jay, do you have anything before we get up out of here?
No, Warren. I appreciate your time today, bro. These morning shows. I love the morning shows. We get everybody's day started talking about birds, and hopefully they get on and pass on some information to their friends.
Most definitely. And I'll leave everybody with this. If you could and as we getting closer and closer to the end of the season, the draft's coming up. We got college football games coming up. Who would be a player that you would like to see the Cowboys? Oh my gosh,
Oh my
I'm
goodness.
still that loss, bro. That loss.
I hate them. I'm wearing
Who
all
would
Eagles gear today.
be?
I'm wearing this to work
Yeah,
today. I don't give a damn.
yeah, yeah. So who would be a player that you would like to see the Eagles pick up in the draft? My personal opinion, I would like to get Jeremiah Trotter Jr. He's a hard nose. He's a hard nose linebacker, and even Dennis kind of mentioned it. He doesn't mind laying the axe like his dad did, like
Yeah.
just dominant.
Yeah,
So
you see Joey Porter's son is in Pittsburgh. Maybe we could do the same in Philly. Get him. I wanted the Eagles to draft Asante Samuel Jr. when he was coming. That was the guy I wanted, and he's pretty good corner up in San Diego. So let's just try to get a former Eagles son in the building. It should work.
yeah, I would like to see us probably try to make a move to get Patrick Surtain too.
Yeah, the
So
glaring weaknesses is in the second and third level of that defense. No ifs, ands, or buts.
yeah, and because we're not gonna have Slade, we're not gonna have Bradbury after this year. So yeah. But yeah, we appreciate y'all watching us. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to the channels. We're also on Instagram, YouTube, Twitter. We got the Facebook group. Check us out. All right, y'all.